The bridal shower was at the country club. My brother's fiancée Madison came from the kind of family that hosted events at country clubs the way normal people hosted backyard barbecues. I arrived carrying Waterford crystal vases. Expensive, elegant. The kind of gift that said, "I'm happy for you," without saying, "I approve of how you've treated me." "Oh, you came." Madison's mother Patricia intercepted me at the entrance. "We weren't sure you'd make it." Single women sometimes feel uncomfortable at these events. I was 32. I had a doctorate in international relations. I was senior policy advisor for the National Security Council. I briefed the president twice a week. But to Patricia Morrison I was just the perpetually single sister-in-law. "Wouldn't miss it," I said. The dining room was decorated in blush pink and gold. Madison sat at the head table like a queen, my brother Ryan beside her looking besotted. My sister-in-law Cassie rushed over. "Harper. Finally someone normal. I've been drowning in talk about seating charts for an hour. How bad is it?" "You're at table 8. In the back. With the unmarried cousins and random plus ones." Of course I was. "Everyone find your seats." Madison's voice carried across the room. "We're starting gift opening." Table 8 was tucked in the corner near the kitchen. My table mates. Madison's divorced roommate, 2 perpetually single cousins and a confused elderly aunt. The head table seated Madison's bridesmaids, all married or engaged, all wearing rings prominently. Relationship status determined your value here. My mother appeared. "Harper, don't take the seating personally." Madison wanted to group people by life stage. "You mean by whether they're married?" "Well, yes, but," she glanced toward Patricia Morrison, "Madison's family has expectations. And with you being so focused on career never settling down." "I have settled, Mom. Into a career that matters. I advise the president on national security." Her eyes glazed over. "Yes, dear. But you know what I mean. A real life. Marriage, children, stability." She drifted back to the head table. Gift opening began. Madison squealed over kitchen appliances and designer luggage. When they reached my crystal, she held it up with a tight smile. "Oh, vases. How practical." She set them aside quickly, moving to monogrammed towels that received far more enthusiasm. Cassie leaned over. "She's insufferable." My phone buzzed. My assistant Jeremy, urgent. Flotus office called 3 times. "The First Lady wants to speak with you personally." My heart rate increased. "About what?" "Wouldn't say. Time sensitive. Relates to the upcoming state dinner." The state dinner. I'd been coordinating security protocols for weeks. A high-stakes event with the French president. Tensions were high, diplomatic relations delicate. "Tell them I'll call back in 20 minutes. Madison was explaining her wedding theme, romantic elegance with a touch of whimsy. Nobody looked interested except her bridesmaids. My phone rang. A DC number I recognized immediately. The White House switchboard. I stood. "Excuse me. I need to take this." Cassie's eyes widened. "Now. It's important." I walked toward the exit, pressing answer. "This is Harper Collins." "Miss Collins, please hold for the First Lady." The room went quiet. Everyone stared. Then the First Lady's voice came through. "Harper. Thank goodness. I've been trying to reach you all morning." "Madam First Lady, I apologize. I'm at a family event. Is everything all right? I need your expertise." The French delegation sent new security requirements for the state dinner. They're concerned about specific threats. The Secret Service is overwhelmed. You're the only person I trust to coordinate this. She paused. "I know it's Saturday, but can you come to the White House?" "Now." Every eye in the room was fixed on me. Build up. "Of course, Madam First Lady. I can be there in 40 minutes. "Thank you. I'll have security expecting you. Bring your assessment of the seating arrangements. I want your input on diplomatic positioning." "Yes, ma'am." I hung up. The silence was absolute. Madison spoke first. "Who was that?" "Work." "Work. You're taking work calls during my bridal shower." It was the First Lady of the United States. So yes. Patricia Morrison stood, face flushed. "The First Lady? You expect us to believe." "I don't expect you to believe anything. I need to leave. There's a situation at the White House requiring my immediate attention." My mother rushed over. Harper, you can't just leave. This is important. So is national security, Mom? Ryan approached, confused. Harper, what's going on? You work for the government, right? Some policy thing. I'm senior policy advisor for the National Security Council. I coordinate security protocols for state visits, advise the president on international threats, and manage diplomatic relationships with foreign governments. Currently, I'm overseeing security for a state dinner with 2 heads of state and 200 high-level officials. The room stared. Madison's voice dripped skepticism. You're a policy advisor? You told me you worked in government administration. I do. I administer national security policy at the highest level. Cassie grinned. Wait, you actually work in the White House? The actual White House? Yes. My office is in the West Wing. I brief the president every Monday and Thursday. I attended 3 National Security Council meetings this week. Patricia Morrison sank into her chair. But you're so young. And unmarried. Surely someone in that position would be... Would be what? Married? Male? Older. I looked around. I earned my position through a doctorate from Georgetown, 8 years at the State Department, and fluency in 3 languages. My relationship status has nothing to do with my qualifications. My phone buzzed. Jeremy, Secret Service confirmed your arrival time. Holding south entrance. I held up my phone. The Secret Service is waiting. Madison stood face red. You can't just walk out because of some work emergency. This is my day. And there are 2 world leaders whose safety is my responsibility. They take priority. I grabbed my purse and headed out. My mother followed, grabbing my arm. Harper Elizabeth Collins, you're being incredibly rude. Madison's family is very well connected. Connected to who? I'm connected to the president. I'm connected to the Joint Chiefs of Staff. I'm connected to every major intelligence agency. I removed her hand. I'm sorry, but I have a job to do. A job that matters. I walked out. Behind me, excited chatter erupted. Cassie called. I answered. Harper, is this real? Do you actually work at the White House? Yes, Cassie. I've tried to tell you. Multiple times. Nobody listens. We thought you just did paperwork. We had no idea you were important. I know. That's the problem. I drove toward D.C., switching from family drama to crisis mode. The French delegation's security requirements needed integration with existing protocols. The seating chart needed diplomatic review. My phone rang continuously. My mother. Ryan. Madison. I ignored them all. 40 minutes later, I pulled up to the White House South entrance. Secret Service recognized me immediately. Miss Collins. The First Lady is waiting in the map room. I walked through corridors where history had been made, toward a meeting that would determine the success of a crucial diplomatic event. The First Lady extended her hand. Harper. Thank you for coming so quickly. Of course, ma'am. I apologize for interrupting your Saturday family event. My brother's fiancé's bridal shower. It's fine. This is more important. She smiled. Family events can be complicated when they don't understand what we do. She gestured to documents. Now these security concerns. The French are worried about specific threats. I need your honest assessment. We worked for 2 hours. Threat assessments. Security perimeters. Diplomatic seating. The Chief of Staff joined us. The Secretary of State called in. Finally, the First Lady leaned back. Excellent. I knew you were right for this. She paused. Harper, how would you feel about attending the state dinner? Not as staff but as a guest. You've earned it. At the head table, actually. The president and I want key advisors close by. My mind went blank. As a guest. Yes. Black tie. I hope that's not a problem. No, ma'am. No problem at all. Wonderful. The social secretary will send the formal invitation. Plan to arrive at 7. I left in a daze. A state dinner invitation. Head table. With the president and first lady. My phone had 37 missed calls. Revelation. I didn't return calls until Sunday morning. When I answered my mother, she was hysterical. Harper. Thank God. Is it true? Do you really work at the White House? His mom. I've been telling you this for 3 years. But you made it sound so ordinary. We thought you had some administrative position. I am important. I've been important. You just never asked what I actually do. Silence. Your brother wants to talk. So does Madison. They feel terrible. About treating me like I was worthless because I'm not married? About seating me with the relationship failures. Harper, that's not fair. It's completely fair. You've pitted me for being single while I was building a career that matters. I need to go. I have a state dinner to prepare for. I hung up. Ryan texted, Harper, please call. Madison is devastated. She had no idea you were so successful. We want to apologize. I didn't respond. Monday, the formal invitation arrived by courier. Cream cardstock with the presidential seal. Ms. Harper Elizabeth Collins is cordially invited to attend a state dinner in honor of the President of France. I took a photo and posted it in the family group chat without comment. My phone exploded. The state dinner was Thursday. I spent the week coordinating final security, briefing the president, managing diplomatic protocols. I bought a midnight blue silk gown that cost more than my rent. Thursday evening I arrived at 7 sharp. The South Lawn was transformed. Lights, military honor guard, press photographers. My name was announced. Ms. Harper Collins, Senior Policy Advisor to the National Security Council. Inside the state dining room was breathtaking. Crystal chandeliers, floral arrangements, presidential china. At the head table, place cards with the President, First Lady, French President and key advisors. Including me. The First Lady found me during cocktails. Harper, you look stunning. Come meet the French Foreign Minister. He specifically asked to meet you after reading your assessment. The minister greeted me in French, which I returned fluently. We discussed diplomatic security, international cooperation. He was impressed. Then I heard a familiar voice. Harper. I turned. My entire family stood there. My mother, father, Ryan, Madison and half a dozen relatives. Dressed formally but completely out of place among diplomats and world leaders. What are you doing here? Madison stepped forward, tears streaming. We came to apologize. Ryan called everyone trying to get us on the guest list. We finally reached someone in your office who confirmed everything. Harper, I'm so sorry. You had no idea because you never asked. None of you did. The president approached. Harper. There you are. I need your thoughts on the seating for the toast. You notice my family. Are these friends? My family actually, Mr. President. Wonderful. Always good to meet family of our best people. He shook hands with practiced charm then turned back. Harper, when you have a moment? Of course, sir. I excused myself, leaving my family standing there, finally understanding who I was. The dinner was extraordinary. I sat at the head table between a senator and an ambassador, discussing international policy while my family watched from table 23, last-minute guest additions. During the toast, the president acknowledged key advisors. Special thanks to Harper Collins, whose expertise in diplomatic security ensured this evening. Harper's dedication to our national security is unmatched. The room applauded. I stood briefly, very aware of my family's stunned faces. After dinner, my mother found me. Harper, I don't know what to say. You thought I was wasting my life because I chose career over marriage. You made me feel ashamed of being single. We were wrong. So wrong. Can you forgive us? Resolution. I looked at my mother, the woman who'd raised me but never seen me. Eventually, maybe. Not tonight. I have work to do. The French president wants to discuss intelligence protocols. Madison approached, mascara running. Harper, your brother and I would like you in the wedding party. No. No. I'm not standing in your wedding so you can show off that you're related to someone important now. That's not how this works. But I want to make it up to you. You can't. You spent months making me feel worthless. You seated me in the back because I didn't have a ring. You excluded me because I didn't fit your aesthetic. You don't get to undo that. Ryan stepped forward. Harper, please. You're my sister. I should have defended you. I'm sorry. You're only sorry now that you know I'm important by your standards. You weren't sorry when you thought I was just a single woman with a boring government job. The First Lady appeared. Harper, the French delegation is requesting your presence for photos. Of course, ma'am. I turned to my family. Enjoy the dinner. It's quite exclusive. Not everyone gets invited. I walked away toward world leaders and diplomats who valued my expertise regardless of whether I wore a wedding ring. The next day my phone flooded with messages. Apologies, explanations, desperate pleas. Even Patricia Morrison called, asking if I could help her daughter get a White House internship. I ignored them and focused on actual work. Briefing the Joint Chiefs, threat assessments, CIA consultations. Ryan showed up at my apartment Sunday with coffee and tears. I've been a terrible brother. Madison's bragging about you to everyone. Mom's telling everyone at church. And I'm ashamed. We treated you like you were less than. You did. Can we fix this? I considered him, my younger brother who'd always been the favorite. Maybe. If you actually want to know me. Not White House me. Just me. I do. Then start by listening. Actually listening when I talk about work. And stop letting Madison's family treat me like I'm less than. I will. I promise. 3 weeks later my mother hosted a family dinner. She spent the entire evening asking real questions about my work. Interested questions. Felt strange and like too little too late. But it was something. Madison's wedding was in 2 months. I received a new invitation. We'd be honored if you'd do a reading. I declined politely. Some bridges once burned couldn't be rebuilt. Some relationships once broken by dismissal couldn't be repaired with belated recognition. But I didn't need them to rebuild. I had a career that mattered, work that made a difference, and respect from people who valued expertise over relationship status. I'd spent years being dismissed as perpetually single by people who couldn't see past their narrow definitions of success. Now they knew better. And I'd never again accept being seated at the table for relationship failures. I belonged at the head table. With or without a ring on my finger.